Welcome. Where the paranormal becomes normal. Sit back and enjoy as we dive deeper down into the rabbit hole. And into the unknown.
Welcome to today's show. We are joined by the wonderful and a very good friend who I had the privilege of meeting in February, Nathaniel Gillis. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me again. It's great to be with you guys. Thank you.
Anytime. So thanks for coming on at short notice as well. Because it is literally, 4 or 5 days or something?
Yeah,
so.
yeah. You were taking... Dude, I'm sorry?
Sorry, go on. It's right, go on.
No, I'm taking the month of May off. And then you're like, let's do a show on the 1st. It's like... Yeah, man. But after this...
Yes. Oh, yeah, that was it, yeah.
Anything from my buddy Andy, man. So I'm glad to be here.
It's all good. Sorry, I'm just going live on TikTok as well. I'm saying I'm going live on TikTok. I don't even know what it's doing.
What's TikTok for you? I don't know what it's doing half the time.
I don't think it's doing anything.
I'm on TikTok. I have followers, but I don't post anything. I feel bad. It's like, well, why are they even following me? You know what I mean? I feel bad. Yeah.
Well, it's a good problem to have because it'd be worse if you were posting stuff and didn't have any followers.
It's fine.
That would be even worse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad to be with you guys, you know.
Well, I know a few people like that, but no, thank you for coming on. Right, so I just spoke with Nicole and Nathaniel before we went live. I'm going to do this again because I didn't get a chance to do it proper on Friday. So I will do a full thing. So I have the new Night Fox Swift Pro 2 night vision goggles, full HD recording. I've also found with the attachment the 2 IR lights that will just fit on top, and then you can put a tripod underneath. So they're going to be used when we go to Rendlesham in a couple of weeks on the 18th. I've been trying them out the back. Oh my god! So the digital binoculars, daytime. Then you just click the IR button. Not got a massive back garden, but I couldn't see the end, couldn't see the fence or anything. Even on IR2, it's like you can see every little bit of detail. The ones I had previous, you could see, but you couldn't make anything out. And these are just just blow the water with the other ones. So glad that I managed to get them sorted out.
Is it just like the goggles, or do they have a camera in them?
So, it's got the camera. So I'll show you quickly. Oh, they're rechargeable as well. So you can actually see. I don't know if you can. So you can step right back and use it like a viewfinder rather than putting them right up to your face.
Nice.
So, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, there's a little bit of like a lag.
Is there? Do you know what I'm going to do? Think it's at the same time. Is that any better?
I think so. I don't know. Talk again.
Hello? Hello. Anything? Nothing?
No, you're good now.
Right, let me refresh it. If we go off, I'll be straight back on.
Yeah, I think you're good now.
Looks good.
Now he's gone.
Okay, but that's not. He needs to be back. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's one way to stop it, I guess. Yeah.
Whatever, we're running things now.
It's good to be with you, Nicole. Everybody, hello.
There we go.
There you are. There you are, buddy.
How's that? Any better?
Clear too. Good.
Oh, right. So I now know not to bother with TikTok.
You were like kind of apparitional before.
Yeah.
It's because I've got the 2 separate cameras running. So I think it was trying to upload from on both at the same time, and it's wasn't happening. So right, Nathaniel, welcome.
Thank you.
So we are going to be we are. I'm not. You are. Going to be talking about. I've called it Beyond. What did I say? Beyond the Demons. Because you had a conversation last weekend. Because you was messaging me, weren't you? I thought I'm just going to phone him.
Yeah.
It was easier. I was driving, so.
No worries. Yeah.
But do you want to tell everyone what your latest theory, results, research? It was you was up all night, weren't you?
Yeah. It's well, the phenomenon is leaning into and out of archetypes. And a lot of these archetypes are built on historical information. And a long time ago, when I was poring over copious amounts of case studies of demonology, it was very easy to see that I wasn't just researching multiple intelligences. It was like I was researching one, and it was kind of labeling itself, diversifying its identity. And not only that, but certain case studies were built on ideas, concepts, beliefs, dogmas that were not real, like beliefs about the Bible that were not in the Bible. Like for instance, 666. I do have a linguistics background. I grew up in evangelicalism, and 666, written in that biblical text, it was written in gematria. Gematria is when authors would apply numbers to words and vice versa, words to numbers. And so that text was written twice in 2 different languages. One was Aramaic and the other was Greek. Both of those come out to the word Nero, the name Nero, which was a leader in that time. And so when I was encountering 666 in demonological literature, I'm thinking, why would these beings reference Nero? And it was almost as if there was something present that absolutely wanted to be perceived as demonic, to the point that it was not holding true to anything remotely biblical. And I'm not even talking about like, okay, we got to believe this or not believe that. I'm talking about just literally the historical record of things. And my thought was, first of all, why is that occurring? Second of all, who is it doing this to? It's, if there was, like, let's say the late Michael Heiser, he was a scholar of the ancient Near East. If he were to go into a malevolent haunting and witness this being, scribbling 666 somewhere, he would have seen through it. He would have laughed. What are you talking about, Nero? Like, what do you mean? Right? And so it makes me question a lot of what's going on. And one of the things I've been looking at lately is different movies like, The Matrix, but more specifically Dark City. And that entire movie predated The Matrix, but it went deeper and darker because it was the idea, it was very Gnostic. The idea was that there was a species, singular, that was fabricating reality by virtue of propaganda. This is getting deep quick. But the whole movie, he's looking for Shell Beach, this lead character, and he remembers the Shell Beach. And at the very end of it, he goes, he climbs up this billboard, and he meets this homeless guy. And the homeless guy's like, "What are you looking for?" He's like, "I'm looking for the Shell Beach." The homeless guy goes, "Okay." So he starts pulling out magazine covers. Boom, here you go. Yeah, Shell Beach, right? He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, we've been hearing about Shell Beach for hundreds and hundreds of years." And he's like, "But do you believe it's real?" And he's like, "Yeah, I believe it's real." He goes, "Okay, where's it at?" Nobody knew exactly where it was.
Oh.
It's supposed to exist, but it did not line up with the historical record. They couldn't go and find it. And that's when they realized that there is a species here that, like I said, it's constructing reality, our belief systems. And sometimes they're not historical. You can't touch that. You can't go there. And there's no reason for that unless it is propaganda designed to not just replicate its own species, but replicate ideas and dogmas that aren't true. So what is my point? My point is we're being manipulated by something.
For what reason, though? That's the bit I can't get my head around.
Well, if we're dealing, again, my hypothesis is a singular intelligence that it's not covering its bases, it's covering its faces. In other words, if I could have a different series of different aliases, you'll never truly know the source, the nature, where to find me. You will only be the detective that goes to the same locations, right? The same murder scenes, same rituals, same methodologies, but we'll always believe that's a demon, that's an alien, that's a ghost. And I believe this phenomenon is totally, it's founded and rooted in deception. And the one thing that I will say as well is that there are moments where I and some of my colleagues will get to the end of the road and start asking these questions. Okay, then if this really is Shell Beach, how do I get there? And then we'll be like, okay, wait a minute. This is what we're being told by the phenomenon, but it's not accurate. And so what I'm leaning into now is kind of the idea of the Truman Show.
Yeah.
Where there are a series of guided events designed to indoctrinate us in terms of this intelligence. And then when we start poking around, like when Jim Carrey went into the grocery store and he started to look behind the scenes, that's when the director in charge of it all was like, wait a minute, we can't have that. Go back out there to where we can control you with the information we want you to have. So that's why I'm taking the month of May and possibly even June off, because number one, I'm getting burned out. Number two, I want to present more new information, fresh information. Number three, there's something wrong with this entire picture.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at.
So what do you think is behind the facade?
Designers, programmers of reality, like Steve Marison. Steve and I had a conversation in the UK about that, where me and him and Barry Fitzgerald, for that matter, but there's something really wrong about this. And I'm talking about not just, okay, there's something inaccurate or it doesn't add up, to the point where when we're doing investigations, the phenomenon's absent, but it's present, it's watching us. And so, like I've done them before, where it's like, okay, you're there for 3 or 4 hours, nothing happens at all. And the homeowner says, well, before you got here, something flew off the counter or something. And so you know it's there. And then you're asking, okay, why aren't you manifesting? You go get lunch, come back, boom, it's there.
Yeah.
So it's almost like there are some people who are witnessing this phenomenon, but they shouldn't be. And so when this intelligence realize that some apparitions are not meant to be seen, that it's almost like, okay, you go into a scenario and there are things going on in the dark, they're meant to stay in the dark. You're never meant to witness them. You're never meant to remember these abduction encounters. But now that you do, the phenomenon begins to, okay, well, what do I got to create this reason as to why. You know, it's like with Dr. Carla Turner's research. She hypothesized that it was like a cattle situation where we were being farmed, and then suddenly one of us, or 100 of us, or 1,000 of us started to remember our experiences. And so now the phenomenon has to come in and give us a reason as to why they're doing this. And sometimes it doesn't add up.
All the time, it doesn't add up, really.
Right.
Nothing, none of this makes any sense.
It doesn't. There's something really wrong here.
As soon as you think, and it doesn't matter what paranormal genre you're going down, as soon as you think you're getting somewhere, it's like, I'm so close to getting answers. Something else will pop in and just go, boom. And it's like, that path you was going down, there's another 500 exits off it now. Which one do you go?
It's frustrating, isn't it? It's very frustrating.
So annoying.
Yeah, and for me, I do so many shows. Like I said, I was getting burnt out, but it's like, man, I just did a show yesterday. Like, just, you know, and it's like, okay, well, I hope I don't say the same thing I did yesterday. But I'm doing, you know, I'm still on that path. Like, you know, it's weird, but yeah, none of it makes sense. And this whole idea of, well, they're teaching us, and they're teaching us through trauma, and that would be like me robbing your house, Andy, because I want to teach you about home security. Yeah.
It's a good way to teach it, though.
Yeah. It costs you something. I could just have a
very
conversation.
direct.
Like, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that, but no. So again, it's almost like we've caught the bandit red-handed, and then it's like, well, oh man, how do I explain? Oh, I'm trying to raise your consciousness. Well, how are you doing that? And how do I? Well, yeah, it's just, and there, like I said, there are some answers that they don't pass the sniff test for me personally, and I'm not growing tired, but I'm growing bored with the whole concept of, number one, it's all love and light. Okay, it's fine. I'm not saying it's all negative.
Yeah.
But let's take a step back here, you know, look at it objectively. Now, even more than that is that if we look at this intelligence as if it just originated from a crevice last year or in the early 60s, then we neglect other case studies that precede it that are exactly like what we're seeing today.
Yeah.
And we're doing that because there are gatekeepers in the field that want to raise this and lower that. And, you know, so I'm just getting, I don't know, disheartened a little bit.
Yeah.
It's a game for a lot of people.
So do you think it is as intelligent as we're led to believe it is? Or is it just winging it?
No. The late Paul Eno was, okay, again, coming from the idea that it's a singular intelligence, right? Yeah. Not just covering its faces, but its bases and vice versa. Then we can look at other case studies in demonology where there were demonic flights. It wasn't literally, I'm flying, this being, the phenomenon is playing into the archetype of horns and hooves. By the time the practitioner realizes what's going on, it's too late. It groomed them. It materialized according to their belief systems. I mean, yeah, that is, I mean, to the point where AI doesn't even begin to touch this. I mean, if you get into the body of work it has, we're dealing with entities that know when people die, know how they died, know what kind of clothes they died in, who can simulate near-death experiences. Trigger by location, where when you're in the presence of the phenomenon, you can leave your body and be witness, not just you or me saying, okay, I thought I was out of my body. No, others are witnessing you in two places at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what can we say about that?
My head hurts.
Do you think any of it's real, like astral projection, ESP? Do you think any of that's
Oh my
a
God.
real phenomenon, or do you think it's all part of the facade, the phenomenon?
Well, I've had cases where astral projection led to meeting guides, and the guides carved amulets through the skin to the surface. So, I mean, my God, let's go down that road real quick. If astral projection really exists, then they have maybe not even just popularized it, but monopolized it. So now they can hack into the actual projection itself. This is why I'm like, man, I need to go take a break, because no, I mean, so I'm probably getting killed in the comments, but that's why I need to take a break.
No,
This unloading.
I'm going to put some comments up. So this is from Ross. It all baffles me. It doesn't make sense, and I don't think it's supposed to. And I was literally pretty much thinking the same thing. It doesn't make sense. And that's what I was saying before. As soon as you think it's going to start making sense, just loads of random stuff gets thrown in. It's like, there you go. Try that.
This is what's going on in the comments right now.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Oh yeah, the Mankini. that sounds like not a bad time. Like, I'd be doing that right now. I'm just kidding. No, it's really hot here. That's the reason I'm saying that. Yeah, it's really hot here. It's like 90, I think. But yeah. So then it's like, again, see, the idea behind the cattle hypothesis is that we're supposed to go on with our lives as if nothing is wrong. You know, we eat, we mate, we sleep, we marry, we date, we get our credit, or we can build our credit up, and we do human things. And yet there seems to be a veil around us, within us, that exists, and sometimes we encounter it and we're not supposed to. You know, it baffles me.
There you go.
There we go. But there's got to be a reason why the phenomenon manifests to us, period. You know, like I was saying before, it's one thing to go to an investigation, nothing happens at all.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, is it the people? You know, is it me as an investigator? What's going on? What do I have to do? And then you come back, and it's like it makes eye contact with you.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Why then is it not showing itself all the time? If it has the ability to do this, and I know people say it only shows itself to specific people for whatever reason. If you've got a certain... My vocabulary tonight is crap, by the way. If someone's got a specific thing going on, like the genetics or the blood type or a certain illness, or I don't know, and it will only show to them specific people. Why, if it can choose to do it to them, why can it not? Could it not choose, or can it, to anybody? And why does it not do it all the time? And the next part of that question is, so when there's a group of people that witness something, say there's 8 people, 2 of them will see one thing, 2 others will see something else, the next 2 will see something completely different, and the last 2 don't see anything.
I want to see that question transcribed.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That was the phenomenon itself right there. I'm just kidding.
God.
No,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. It makes no sense. And part of me, because there are people that hypothesize the same thing about poltergeist activity and the trickster phenomenon, and they manifest overhead of the sky because they just want to wow us and stuff. And it's like, okay, I mean, if there's nothing else to do, but do cartwheels 45 minutes in front of me, and I'm like, okay, wow, it's cool. But there's got to be something deeper here, and it has to be more than shock and awe, and it has to be more than just some mindless, unguided process on the part of a phenomenon that can, at will, ding, oh yeah, I'll be your dear Aunt Edna, and quite literally out of the ether pull her entire life story and then lean into that archetype to where you and I would be like, this has got to be her.
Yes.
This has got to be her. So it's not superfluous. It's not, I'm just going to waste all of my energy and all of my sources to just make sure, hey, I'm here. There's something deeper at play. And it appears to me to be the iceberg effect, where what we're witnessing is literally just whatever's on the surface. But there's something deeper at play that we're not completely aware of. And that's, I think, that sums up the whole thing. I mean, that goes without saying, unfortunately, but that's where I am.
Yeah. See, that's brought me. I know it's going off topic a bit, but was it you, Nicole, that sent me that little video about the center of the Earth and the oceans?
When? Recently?
Yeah. That last couple of days. I don't know if it was you.
No, I don't think so.
So, someone sent me a TikTok video. And it was saying, I know it's going off, but it'll kind of bring it back to what Nathaniel was on about. So, if the center of the Earth is magma or liquid fire, whatever you want to call it, why then are the bottom of the oceans, not hot? Why are they like minus whatever? Why are they below freezing? Shouldn't they be a lot warmer than what they actually are?
We're not down deep enough.
Or is it? I don't understand it. Or is it to do with the pressure of the water? The pressure? I don't know. But then the other thing, what the guy said at the end, which completely messed my head up, and I just didn't understand it at all. He was saying about volcanoes. If the center of the Earth is a ball of frozen ice and not liquid like magma, what is coming out of the volcanoes? And
it might have something to do with the pressure.
That's what I'm thinking.
Because like that canned air, how cold that gets when you shoot it out because it's under pressure. It's freezing. You could get frostbite from it.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because I used to deliver the gas bottles, and obviously when they're on in hot weather, in any weather, you can see the ice forming on the outside, so you can gauge how much gas is left in the butane and propane. But it's just with what Nathaniel was saying about us not actually knowing, is it because we're not being told the truth by them who run everything, or is it nothing to do with that at all, and this phenomena controls absolutely everything?
I mean, we know at least they have. Okay, let me say it like this: the entity I encountered, the succubus, if you want to call it that, it was present in both my nightmare and when I woke up.
Right.
Two places, two just. It's really strange. Yeah. And even when we get to near-death experiences, we have cases where the experiencers, they're on the craft talking to aliens, and next thing they know, they talk to an individual who's died. Here's my name. This is where I live. This is how I died. They go back after the experience. Sure enough. Now, what we're looking at here is there's only two possibilities, in my mind at least. Both of them are pretty interesting and if not terrifying. Number one, that was really the apparition of the deceased person. Or if it wasn't, then the phenomenon was replicating someone's ghost in communicating with the experiencer with it. That is
what if this has just come to me now, so if it sounds absolutely ridiculous, don't worry about it. What if
I'm already sounding ridiculous, so we're good.
What if when we die, all this energy gets pulled back together, and it does go, like Stephen Barry say, to one source, and they take all this energy from everything, and they can send what looks like your great nan back to you and have all the details, because it's in the consciousness of that energy. It's not actually that person, but this, say it's, I don't know, a big ball of energy, and it can just dish it out here, there, and everywhere and do whatever it wants, whether it's shadow people, a spirit of a dead person, Mothman, a Bigfoot, an orb. And it can do it as and when it wants, wherever it wants. I kind of spoke to Barry about this when I seen him the other month. Not as in much detail. What if it is that one thing that's dishing out these different things as and when it wants to do it? And that's why it's not a trickster as such. It's a collective consciousness of all the energy that's ever been in this dimension.
It's a good point, but that's a loaded question. Because if that is true, then we have to look at hauntology as a whole and retrace our steps. You know, what kind of dogmas were built on those manifestations? Because that would mean that those dogmas were built on that phenomenon.
Yep.
And they may not be true, right? In other words, if I could mimic that, if I could again, we're dealing with stepping in and out of archetypes with the 666, you know, oh, I'm a demon, I'm a devil. It's like, okay, oh, sure. But if it can do that, then now we have to look at the possibility, probability even, that they've done that throughout history, where this is what it gets really fascinating, at least to me, where there are certain dogmas that we believed in enough to create a character in the game. And so the phenomenon will step into that character, the demon, right? Or I'll step into that character. Oh, I'm the ghost. Meanwhile, it is orchestrating different fields of research. Now, if it can do that, then this would play right into what I and others have been saying, where the reason it's been playing by different rules the whole time is it hasn't been playing ghost games, right? It hasn't been playing games in demon, completely different. Something, again, is behind the entire masquerade.
Yeah.
And it's working behind the scenes. And now, I mean, I'm to the point, and others are as well, where it's like, okay, we know deception's at play. The only question now is the deception in our best interest?
That's like when we go out and investigate, I tend to think more collective consciousness than actual physical, literal ghost of a dead person. Because, okay, how does this person who just passed over all of a sudden know how to use all of our equipment and set it off? How do they know how to like go into these apps and these programs and pull out the word they want to say? Somebody at some point would have had to learn that. And it would have to be in this, you know, phenomenon or this collective consciousness, so they have access to the information on how to do that.
Unless the collective consciousness, because it is a collective, it has the ability to do it through any means of whatever it's sending out.
Yeah.
So it's there, and then you just connect to it. It's like switching on a computer. You can't do anything a computer does. As soon as you switch it on, you can open different windows and tabs and all that kind of stuff. You can't. It's the same sort of thing. If you're not connected to this mass ball of energy, then you don't have. It's like an access key, really, isn't it?
Those are big questions.
Those are very interesting.
I'm glad I'm not answering it.
But you know, it's weird. It's like, okay, are these EVPs even them? Right. I mean, I know that seems to be a stupid question, or at least one that we've heard over and over again in the field. But let's really ask this. Like, oh my God, like, why? Okay, dear Aunt Edna, why would you want to appear human? Forget, okay, they're my relative. No, they're human as well. Why would you want to appear human to me? What's the point of this? And there we go. Right. Yeah. And so now it gets to this. It's like, okay, we know they have information. We know they can pull that. But it starts to get really sinister when they weaponize that. When they appear to Ted Rice as, okay, you know, I'm your grandfather. And then he is in real time witnessing this being just go away. And then the same person that left now comes back as my deceased grandfather. So there's a difference between the phenomenon amassing knowledge and evolving according to our awareness of it, and then out of nowhere, this is what I covered at the Awakening, right, where it turns parasitic. where, oh my God, it's no longer a poltergeist. Huh. Now it's an incubus. And what we've done is those are two separate beings. No.
Yep.
What we're looking at is the weaponization of information that by all measures they should not have. This, you know, it's like with Paulino, the late Paulino was an incredible researcher, and the rest of the soul, he recently passed away. But he told a story about how he was at an exorcism, and he was at the Exeter conference lecturing about this. You guys can pull it up on YouTube. But he said that he was in the seminary, and this being was inside of this woman, and this woman's flailing around, and he thought mentally, this is baloney, just those words. It's got to be baloney. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
And next thing he knows, the being snapped to attention. And now he's like, okay, what's going on with this? What's going on? It's about all the priests and his mentors are now really honed in, and she speaks in a language that he did not understand. And during this part of the story, he gets really emotional, like he's crying. And so he says that later on, once he graduated from seminary, they pulled him aside, gave him his diploma, and said, listen, we want to ask you some questions. Do you remember that one weekend when we went to this like asylum or something and we talked? Yeah, you know, the demonia, yeah. Did you ever figure out what she said to you? He said, no. Okay, well, now that you're old enough, now it's like 3 or 4 years later, now that you're out of seminary, we feel that it's, we got to tell you, okay. The language, first of all, what was that language? The language was Malay, and it's a dead language. And they handed them like the note, and the being looked at him and said, I was there when your father committed suicide. I'm the one that made it pull the trigger. No, yeah, I mean, literally just broke him into pieces, and he didn't know what to do. Like, but my point is, if we look at an intelligence that diversifies its identity, because it can do that, it can also lean in and actually create dogmas that we have had about the phenomenon that are not true to the source. Exactly like the Shell Beach. That's what it says. So literally, yeah, they constructed the entire billboard. Okay, but if they could do that, then they could tell us what to believe about it. Does it make sense? It's so now that's why I'm questioning everything, because it's like, holy smokes, if that is not a part of our historical record, if a lot of this is wrong in the sense that it wanted us to look this way, then it's possible that the alien is just another alias that's not rooted in reality.
A
So
lot.
this is deep. This is deep. I'm telling you, guys, this is why I shut down mentally recently. Like I got burned out, and honestly, it was like I don't want to do this anymore. Or do I? Do I want to continue this? Do I, because I've seen enough to know it's real, but now I'm not reaching for the branches. I'm looking down at the roots, and the roots are telling us something that, wait a minute, there's too much access to our species. Okay, again, it's one thing to know how to construct a belief. It's another thing to know what we would consider worthy of believing in. Yeah. How do we even test reality? And that, my friends, that's the fine tuning of this phenomenon, and it blows my mind.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on, how like every major religion has so many things in common?
Yeah.
Like basically the same story in different ways. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that was just like the easy way to go for the phenomenon?
Well, so sometimes it is advantageous to think of this entire concept and idea as a program in a sense, or something that is constructed. And we were under the impression that aliens were in the other room. Aliens, or not aliens, but that intelligence may have built a house. In building this reality, it's almost okay. yes, I'll be the demon. Okay, but as long as you believe in that, I won't be demonic true to the source, right? And so this would explain why it evolves according to our awareness of it. And I know I'm hoping, it doesn't make sense until it does. And you start realizing, wait a minute, okay, I'm seeing it clearer now, but do I really want to see it? Because this would also explain why they know what's going to happen in the future. And what I'm afraid of is that when we're dealing with these different characters in the game, that some of us have started to see through the character. Okay?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, it's a demon. How do we know it's a demon? Well, and Lorraine said they saw demons with horns and hooves. Okay, but that's not really a demon. Again, that was a mental construct that Western scholars wrote back into the phenomenon. So the question then would be, you see what I'm saying? The question would be, what kind of a true source entity would manifest as something that relates only to pop culture? Unless the phenomenon is far more reflective than we think.
And now when people see angels, they see angels as they're now depicted rather than the traditional description from like the Bible and other texts where they're like an eyeball kind of thing with wings instead of some pretty person with a halo.
Oh yeah. I always loved that. There was a lady that went around all kinds of like conferences and seeing angels. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you see? She's right there. She has the biggest wings ever. Okay. When was that ever there? That is, again, when we're looking at constructs that could have literally just erupted in our imagination by someone carving it into a bathroom wall, that doesn't, and then the phenomenon plays into that. As a researcher, I would question, that's weird. That would be the equivalent of me saying, you know what, the color blue smells a lot like the color purple. And the phenomenon comes and starts telling experiencers, by the way, that color blue smells like purple. And then people say, oh, well, that's the historical record. It's always been like that. And it's never been like that.
No.
And I don't want to sound crazy, but at some point, if there is not a true historical record being honored by some of these manifestations, and if the phenomenon is playing quite literally into the literacy of the population, we got some major questions to ask. Because what is it doing? It's well, look here, not here. Or look there.
Mention that with the colors, because color itself is a social construct, because hundreds of years ago they didn't even have the color blue. The sky wasn't blue. The sky was, I think, green, like a shade of green.
Oh.
There's something wrong here.
The word blue.
Correct.
So somebody made it. Somebody was like, no, that's going to be a different color.
Yeah. Who says that's the real red? Yeah.
Can I just say, were you saying that? It's like my red may not be your red. Mm-hmm. So my red could be your yellow or Nicole's green. Just because because when we talk colours, we're just teachers pointing at colours and you go, that's red, that's green, that's blue. But we might be seeing it differently to the next person because of frequency.
Yeah.
Modulation,
so there is some of it that's left up to interpretation and personal preferences. However, when we're dealing with concrete historical records, like, oh my God, I'm so and so, and I died in a fire, and my name is this. This is where my address is, and then you go there, and you look it up, and it's non-existent. What we're looking at, and this is what's incredible, if the phenomenon, again, has created entire mythologies to hide behind, then what we're looking at in the alien is another alias, a new mythology. That, and I've done this before in other shows, where you look at the phenomenon not as what it wants us to believe it is, but the actual behavioral patterns. There are thematic elements that are concrete, irrefutable, and they are interwoven into the fabric of time. But what we've done is we've witnessed this evolution in the sense that, okay, yeah, the hybridization program, that's just alien. No, if we go back into the historical record, not really. And so what it appears to be is that in times past, we were able to see through the guises. Now the phenomenon is actually, instead of stepping in and into and out of archetypes, it's designed its own character in the game. One that we cannot validate and we cannot verify. We can only believe it to the point that we trust it.
Yeah.
And that's disturbing to me.
So then, what if we've all right, saying all that, deja vu would come into play, and it's not you think you've done it before, it's actual, is that the phenomena give you a bit of an insight as to what's coming up in your future?
Possible. It's very possible. I also think that it does bleed into the Matrix when they saw the black cat. It should not be there, and it is. That was paranormal to that individual. That was something that did not fit. And it just goes back to this. It's all speculation, but it is. But again, there's a story being told to us, and I'm not sure that we can trust it. Because in times past, when we would go vet in the phenomena, right? Are you who you say you are?
Yeah.
There were a lot of cases where it would play that role until it would do something completely antithetical to what that individual would have done. And then the phenomenon was, okay, you can't be that individual. And so what I see happening, though, is this intelligence realizing that I am tired of getting called out. I'm tired of having to vet myself and force myself to tell a story to you that coordinates with the past. No, I'm going to pull my identity out of the ether into the shivering abyss, one in which you cannot verify or validate at all, mind you. Think about it. It's the most, okay, what are we the most ignorant of? Death and space. Perhaps, consciousness underneath the ocean. Where are all of these beings coming from? Ghosts, space. So there is a measure of this where it's almost like it decided again to write itself into the program, to where now at any point it can now kind of navigate around our awareness. And now where are we at now, my friends? Here's what it is. I'm an alien. Well, how do I know you're an alien? Here's a miracle. If you could toy with reality anyway, that doesn't really prove you're an alien.
No. See, it's like you just said then, like where they're coming from. This energy must go somewhere. So where is all this energy being stored? Because if it is every dead person that's ever existed, or every animal, every cryptid, every alien, can energy be that compressed to nothing that we don't see it?
Well, I would ask this question. How are we so designed to not see it? Think about that. When you're looking at the blind spots in our species.
Yeah.
Like, I've been in cases where the cat sees something or the dog notices something and I can feel it.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are, again, when we're dealing with the archetypes spawned by this intelligence, those are blind spots. Those are blind spots. They are aliases, and this is just coming from me. Aliases to where Nicole, like, okay, I'm Jimmy, John, Joseph, Jeremy. And if all of those are purely the archetypes and conjurations of other people, mythologies, then you don't really know me. You don't. You just know how I've kind of diversified myself. And if the phenomenon, again, if it can manifest as ghosts, then now we have to look at not just ghosts, but everything we've been taught about them.
Yep.
Guys, because that is the finger, okay, in the aquarium. And all we see is the finger. We don't see the hand. Then now we have to question, wait a minute, is it that's why I'm back at the drawing board. And it's sorry guys.
No, it's all right. My head really hurts.
This is a deep one right off the bat today.
It is. It's good. I knew it was going to get like this, and I thought I was better prepared, but I'm not. But it's just even if it does cross into another veil, realm, dimension, why is that? Why some people can feel the energy, or they can smell it or touch it, but you can't actually see it?
Well, again, there's a lot of things here that we just assume to be true, or at least I did.
Yeah.
Well, if we see them, it's because they wanted us to. I think that's true sometimes, honestly.
Yeah.
But if you look at Dr. Collar-Turner's hypothesis, again, it's almost like, you weren't meant to. And now that you do see me, I have to create an explanation as to why I'm here.
Yeah. You got to give a reason for turning up.
Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Yeah. Yeah, it's like, okay, well, oh my God, you realize you were abducted? Yeah, I remember that now. Oh, crap. Well, this is why we did it. And it's like, wait a minute. If I couldn't trust you to tell me the truth in the fact that it's happening to me, how could I trust your explanation as to why? These are the questions that keep me up at night. You didn't even want me to know this existed. Now that I do, oh, by the way. And it's interesting to me.
So how old was you when you first realized that this was a thing?
Well, my initial experience happened when I was 8 years old, but I still thought I was crazy.
Right.
I mean, I was experiencing direct voice phenomena where it's occurring to me above my head at night, just talking to each other. So I knew I knew it was real.
Yeah.
But later on, that's when I started to kind of coordinate with other people. Yeah, we're experiencing this.
See, it's just I've always said because I was so young. My first thing that happened, I was like 3, 4, 5. I can't remember the exact year, and I never spoke to it. I never spoke to anyone about it because I didn't need to.
Yeah,
it was I seen it, and that was it. There's no one else there, so why do I need to tell anyone? And then other stuff that's gone on, I just never felt the need. It's only from doing this that I'm sharing it to show people that if they think they're mad, then there's other mad people out there. No,
absolutely, yeah.
If they think they're mad,
they're
not, because we're here and we're experiencing the same or similar stuff. It's fine to share it.
Yeah, and we're now thinking of mythology. I mean, it takes one experience, one encounter, one incarnation of the phenomenon. And then, well, what did it look like? It appeared as this, that, and this. And then, so, okay, but what did it do? Well, they all did the same thing. Okay. What are we really dealing with here? And why, again, if we're notating and jotting down the various incarnations of this intelligence through history, then we have to stand in awe of its newest incarnation. Now that we know it's done that, why choose another facade?
Yeah.
Why is it creating a new mythology? And it's just, anyways. Again,
Maybe. No. if everything else is evolving, as we're told it is, maybe this has to evolve to keep up. Otherwise, if that doesn't evolve, then we're going to see the true face or the true gestures of what it's doing and what it's giving.
Would make sense.
Yes, of course, yeah. So it's evolving according to our awareness of it. But in times past, the only reason it's evolved is to evade.
Yeah.
But that's why most things evolve, to survive.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So this leads back into the symbiotic relationship of the phenomenon, where it is not us, but in order to be we have to be here. This is getting deeper than I intended, but let's go down this rabbit hole. When we're dealing with, let's say, the symbiotic nature of the phenomenon, let's go to the school experiment, okay? And you have parapsychologists, psychics, they're doing seances, we're contacting entities beyond the veil, right? In the afterlife, and they're getting EVPs sound very, very, very human. Here's my name, right? This is what happened to me. And then they clear out the room, just put a tripod up there, leave, come back the next day, and there is an alien looking right directly into the lens. So this gets back to, again, and this is far more troubling, because if it's played the part of all those people, then now we see the proto-intelligence making eye contact with our species, potentially. And that would start to really collapse all the models, if you will. There's no ontology anymore. There is none. There is just the proto-intelligence that has been incarnating.
Okay, so here's a question for you, if I can say it. So all these things that have happened throughout time, from day one right the way through to present day, that we're finding, example, dinosaur remains, either they existed or they didn't exist, and they was put there for us to find, to mislead what's really happening and what's going on, to like go over there, go look for them, do that, while we're doing some serious shit over this side.
Yeah, I can't help it, but when I remember being a kid, or I'll be sleeping in my room or something, and my dad or mother would come in to get something they forgot, or just to clean my room up a little bit, and I'm not supposed to know. I wake up, and I look up, and here's I gotta explain myself now. And I think that's what's been occurring. There are some things that we as a species may not have even been designed to see, the blind spots. And so now the phenomenon has to come forward with a reason as to why. And this gets back into the theory that, it is like the Truman Show. And sometimes the person that's supposed to turn left, they don't. It messes up. And so now the phenomenon has to reconstruct itself to get us to move into the flow of the program. It doesn't make sense unless, I don't know. And I don't want to ramble, but that's some of my newest, those are my newest thoughts, I should say.
Yeah. Sorry, just 1 second. So I need Nicole to write something in the chat, please. Thank you. Sorry, it's just to do with the gifting and the memberships. But with you saying about them coming in, why do you think that this is puzzling me? Why do they feel the need that? Oh God! Why does the phenomena feel the need that it has to give an explanation? Like, shit, I've been caught. Oh, quick! Oh, think of something. That's what I'm getting from it. But then at the same time, it's like, well, if I give an explanation, then they'll think about that, and then they'll go down the rabbit holes, and they'll keep going and going. They'll never get any answers.
They'll think they'll think we're all ghosts, or that we're all demons, and we'll build religions behind that, or we will, we'll go down that rabbit hole and put up wallpaper, camp out with it. You know what I mean? And so, let's say 200, 300, 400 years of researchers, ghosts. And then someone's like, wait a minute, can they make ghosts? Like, can they act like they're ghosts? Yes. Was that just them the whole time, creating a new mythology? Now, people are going to say, well, that's outlandish. Yeah, I know. But the problem is, if I could appear as Andy, right?
Yeah.
And nobody could tell the difference, then how do we know Andy's entire life story is really Andy's entire life story? How did you know it wasn't sometimes me doing that? And so this is...
but this is what I was saying the other week. So the other week I woke up, I felt completely different. Like, I felt like me, but a different version of me. Yeah? Felt really good, blah, blah, blah. Last week, I've done me back in. I know it's a little bit different, but I now feel a different version of myself because I'm struggling with work and all that kind of stuff and just getting about and sitting still for 2 hours and what have you. But I feel like it. So how do I, like you just said, how do I know that I'm still me? One has got an ailment. The other one went dancing on top of the house, but next best thing. Do you know what I mean? I was dancing at ABBA, yeah. So, but that's not how I did me back in. But you get these 3 different versions: the original, the good, and the injured.
Would you know you're not you if you weren't you?
Don't know. I wouldn't know.
I hope I'm me. I do.
I really don't know.
I hope you're you. I just, and people are going to ask, like, okay, this sounds crazy. And I get it. I know it does. But I didn't arrive to these questions just accidentally. I've done years of research, worked with a lot of people, lecturing. It's like, okay, some of these concepts, they're propaganda. Like, it's not real. And then I have to look at, okay, why are we being taught that? Why is the phenomenon making sure we go and tell these stories, if in fact they do not go back to the real Shell Beach? There's nothing there. So if the fabrication exists, okay, that's not even the direction. Why would you? But anyways, that's where I'm at. And when I come back here, maybe in a month or two, I'm going to hopefully structure the vocabulary in a way that I can articulate it clearer. Because right now, as you guys can well see, the phenomenon it's not that complicated since you can't explain it, but it takes time to kind of coordinate the vocabulary. It's very, very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. And then
so do you
Grasshopper. Sorry. I'll go on, Nicole. I'll do this in a sec. I'll leave it on.
Do you think there's a chance that it's not something that's like malevolent, that it's benevolent, and we just can't fully grasp? Like, our brains cannot process?
No.
So that's why the shield is there?
There's two, in my mind. It's either self-serving, which is what I'm going through, what I'm going to, leaning towards. Yeah. Again, if we're dealing with a version of cosmicism, which was presented by H.P. Lovecraft, then we're dealing with something that would be so scary because it's clinical. It's not either or. It's just, you really don't exist in my mind. Like, you're just a thing. And some of the experiences coming forward have said that. I'd rather mean something. See, again, now we're dealing with consciousness and our way of understanding. To place it in the concept of evil means we can rationalize it, we can deal with it, we can understand. Not understand in terms of why would we do that, but we know evil. Well, we've seen at least evil. We've seen serial killers and some of the depths of human depravity. Mm-hmm. But we've never witnessed something that can construct its own reality. And we don't even know the time frame. Is it playing the long game? Because if this intelligence has literally created mythologies and waited thousands of years before it evolves into another one, this is something that we cannot, again, the reason we are having linguistic paradoxes is because we may have never been intended to talk about this the way we're talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not in the language because it's not in us to witness it. And that's a possibility.
Yeah, grasshoppers put this. Add to that genetic memory for our ancestors.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of animals do this, and especially crows, ravens, and they can do it in real time from one side of the world to the other. Where I know there was an experiment where some student in America, I don't know what college it was at, and they put a Neanderthal mask on, and all the crows went crazy and tried to attack him. And they did it in different places around the world at different times, and the same thing happened. So it was something to do with what the Neanderthals did to the crows back in whatever time they was around. And it's the same thing, genetic memory is passed on.
But then, a profound field of study, indeed.
Yeah, but then with crows as well, they can pass knowledge like 2,000 miles away within, I don't know what the time frame is, but probably a couple of days. I don't know. It's quicker than Bluetooth anyway.
Right.
Yeah, but they can do that, and it's like, it's just, if they've got the ability to do that, look at what we would have the ability to do if we knew what I was doing. But what I was going to say is, with you saying about evolution, and the phenomena needs to evolve. Maybe it's evolving at the same rate as us, because if it evolves too quick, it's going to mess up what it's actually doing and kind of like trip itself up.
Correct. Yeah, there has to be a fine tuning of belief.
It's got to be like that right the way down.
Yeah. You know, again, if we're looking at even, well, my discipline, demonology, they're horns and hooves, and they're afraid of holy water. A good friend of mine was on a case where he pulled out, the priest was there, pulled out a vial of holy water, put it in the room that had the most activity, and they watched it in real time as it siphoned the water out of the vial itself.
Oh.
What are we witnessing here, guys? What are we witnessing here? Again, one program is being overridden by another. This is the new revelation. Now, this is it's crazy. It is mythology in a sense, but it's being created by something. And then we look at this and say, all right, why aren't these rules applying? You want to appear as a demon, but then when we test demonic principles, like I said, even the demonic historical record, it's not there. The Shell Beach does not exist, just the billboard. So now what we're witnessing in real time, guys, and this is we're watching as it is evolving into a new archetype in our midst. We'll watch this. It'll have its new prophets. It'll have its new clergy. It will have its new altars. And will it have its new miracles?
So then that brings into play manifestation.
Right.
So if this is creating, let's say, its own timeline with...
It is its own timeline.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's making the timeline, creating the timeline, and all these different things are going on. If we as humans are in tune to it, what's not stopping us being the ones that are manifesting these different cryptids, UFOs, ghosts, and then that's why they're being seen, but different people see different apparitions of them.
Yes. So a while ago, I was poring over incubi case studies, and what the phenomenon has been doing at a micro level with some experiencers, it's been doing this at a macro level with our species. So
Yeah.
in the incubi literature, it's the phenomenon would manifest a being in the image of the husband, a lover, or somebody they would trust. And so at the moment of conception, once they believed enough in the mask it was wearing, and then they would apply the rules that accompany the mask, right? Well, you know, that's so-and-so. I can trust so-and-so. Why? Watch this. Again, when we're looking at the mask itself, it's relying, well, I did this and that. You know me. I did that. Okay, cool. Yeah, I can trust you. And then at the moment, the most vulnerable moment, what is that? Now we no longer have the rules we used to have to apply to that intelligence. Now, what does this point to? Again, it doesn't want us to know. Now, why would something go through that much work and then be like, listen, I'm only doing this to raise your awareness about me and to raise your consciousness? It appears, at least at this point, ask me later when I come back, but yeah, it's somebody that's, oh, you noticed me? You knew? You remembered? Well, here's what I was doing. And I go back to, if you didn't want me to know you were doing it in the first place, how could I trust your explanation at all?
Yeah.
So, question about your demon, real quick.
Yep.
Before I forget, because I'm going to forget. So, do you think that people's changing perceptions of religion has to do with the changing demons? Like the demon presentation?
Yeah. Yes, there has to be faith in and a fear of. There has to be a heaven to save us from hell. In even some of that literature, in the way the phenomenon is manifested, it's also ahistorical. But what I'm looking to now is, again, is it more of us and less of the phenomenon? You know, there have been cases where, you know, people have believed in an archetype and that manifestation comes. And so there is this idea that when the phenomenon wears the mask and manifests, that it's not just coming to us, it's coming through us. And there have been case studies with experiencers where, yeah, I know that's not my uncle, but for only a certain amount of time. And Dr. Gary Fitzgerald highlighted this, where at a certain point, now my belief system is starting to align with what I'm witnessing. I know I should be terrified, but there's something that's calming me and kind of going, it's weird, coming to and going through. And it's weird, but it's not just us, and it's not just them. The symbiotic relationship is not just a belief or an archetype. There's something about us that plays into that relationship.
See, Og Elaine has just put this in the chat. There are some other questions, but I'm going to jump on this one first. So she's put, if you manifest it, then why manifest the evil ones? Everyone should manifest something good. But this is what Nicole was saying before. Do we just believe it's, I'm not going to use the word evil. Are we going to believe that it's not good because we don't understand what it actually is that we're dealing with? And we're scared or unsure or...
Well, fear keeps us alive. Right. I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I just said we also think in human terms of good and evil.
Exactly right. Exactly right. And so, but the thing the problem I'm having right now is that there are certainly situations where the ontological shock is present. Oh my God, that's so weird, alien, strange. Oh my God, I have to be afraid. And yet a lot of those situations are spawned by the intelligence. Think of Paul Sinclair's encounter. Think of my encounter. Think of others where I couldn't see it, but the terror I was feeling was not from me. It was a projection of something seemingly supernatural. And it was coming to me, but it was almost looking for some kind of agreement. Do you believe this? And then the more I believed in that, the more power it had over me. But let's go even deeper. Let's look at the inversion of this. There are also case studies where what they're witnessing is absolutely fearful. They should be terrified. there should be an innate instinctual response. I'm getting out of here. And yet, like one lady described a table, the table of screams. Why? Well, everybody that they put on the table screamed. Why weren't you afraid?
Yeah.
No, she literally said, something came over me and calmed my nerves up until you scream. And so we have to determine, number one, there is certain manifestation there. Obviously, it's coming from us. But we don't know if it's real, and I don't want to go down the ramble. Sorry, guys. I'm in the mood tonight.
It's all right. I'll let you off.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very fascinating. This whole
It is. It's just because it's like I was saying with the good and bad. Maybe it's just showing up and it doesn't know how to be.
Very possible.
Is that?
Or it doesn't care.
Yeah, it's just, well, you've asked for me, what do you want me to do?
Right.
When people do experiments with like animals and things, usually they're not thinking like, oh, what does the animal feel about this? They're just doing what they, have to do.
Yeah.
Like some people get consciouses now and don't do
Well,
animal testing. But
Well,
scientists...
if the animal itself was ignorant of my existence and thought of me as only, let's say, I was the scalpel that cut it. It didn't know there was a hand. But if it saw the hand, now the brain the hand's connected to has to, well, this is, first of all, you weren't supposed to see, but now that you have, this is what we are. But if we've seen that through history, and each and every time it's not tethered to accurate truth, the hand's a ghost. The hand's, right, it's a cryptid. The hand's an alien. Then it's like, at what point is, okay, I got to question this now. I got to question everything. And that's where I'm at. These cases of demonology, they're horns and hooves until they're not. In Father Sinister of Amino, walking back to his house from dinner, he sees a demon. A demon. How does he classify a demon? The same way he always has.
Yeah.
Okay. He's an exorcist. It always worked prior to this case. Why not now? And so then he applies everything he knows to it. And watch this. The intelligence possessing the archetype that he was encountering overruled the demonic mask. This is disturbing. Why manifest as that? You guys are probably going to go want a drink after this show. I apologize.
I'm going to be off work for a week. Just lay there, in suspended animation.
Deception's present. Deception's at play. I want to make sure I nail this point down because it's germane, not just our discussion today.
No.
In the overall field. If the phenomenon has manifested as a ghost in just one case study, we as researchers, if we're intellectually honest, have to go back through hauntology because it's possible that was them building, again, an archetype, designing it, tailored to the experience. And so that's why I'm going through my bookshelf and saying, okay, but what did they really do? And why is it that there are case studies in multitudes where these aliens are present where they shouldn't be, when ghosts and aliens are present in the same manifestations, same intelligence.
See, the only thing I've got from this, there's loads, but one that I can say at this moment in time, my theory is Bigfoot is not part of this Sasquatch. I believe that now is a creature, whether it's from Earth or another planet or whatever. I don't think it's anything to do with the phenomena at all. I don't know why, but it just doesn't make sense to me that it would be.
Oh, well, let's look at this, my friends.
Are we going to change our mind?
Sure, it's a manifestation. Yeah, but until the phenomenon weaponizes that, and it has, that's when my ears perked up. Wait a minute. Are we tripping over things in the forest and not knowing where we're at, what we're standing on? Because when we're looking at the Skinwalker Ranch with Axelrod, right? Drives over, he's on the property for a few hours. On his way home, gets a phone call from his family. There's a cryptid at his house. Those are connected. You're where I'm at, I'm going to be where you are. And so it's one thing, guys, to document this. I saw this. And it's another thing to kind of follow that connection to, well, wait a minute. And this is what our ancestors believed with respect to hauntings with the Rephidim in biblical antiquity and in Levant, was that they built altars to this intelligence that wanted to become incarnate. And if it did not get altars, it haunted them as ghosts. Wait a minute. Sounds to me, that's exactly what I was telling you guys before. That is a method of control, not a true manifestation. It was literally, if you don't give me what I want, I'm going to terrorize you. And if in fact we
But then what if the phenomena is manipulating what real Sasquatch are, and it's bringing the fake ones? I ain't got a clue. I'm just
I think
thinking about what you're talking about. It's gone.
Well, right, and obviously the Skinwalker thing has been overplayed to a degree, and I understand that. But that's just one. That's the reason I use that reference. It's the most famous one that most people know. Yeah. But there are other cases to complement that particular methodology. But if we're getting to the idea, okay, that there are real near-death experiences. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, there was a lady that was a victim of the Las Vegas shooting. She got shot in the head, and as she's running with her family, she just pops out of her body. Okay? If the phenomenon can mimic that experience, I'm not talking about the God helmet. I'm talking about in real time. Boom. Mm-hmm. Then again, we have to ask larger questions than what we're currently asking. And that would be, how much of our perception of reality does it have control over?
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm just rambling at this point.
But what you were saying and what I'm picturing in my head as you're going, it's just Bigfoot just doesn't play a part in, and it, for me, I'm not saying it's a fact and that I'm a Bigfoot expert or anything like that. But for me, it just doesn't fit. It really doesn't fit.
Very possible. It's
but other than what I've said, I can't even tell you why. It just doesn't feel like it can be part of it, unless there's more than one type. I don't mean like you have different breeds of dogs or different breeds of cats or monkeys or anything like that. I'm talking completely different types.
Yeah, I like the cryptid research is one that I need to get into. That'll be a vacation for me, I guess, from all the darker stuff, be a breath of fresh air.
Go through the woods chasing Bigfoot.
Heck yeah. I just, and please, everybody forgive me for just my spontaneity and my just shooting from the hip here, but there's just something wrong with what we're witnessing. If there's no historical record, then I'm being manipulated. If you're telling me your name, hi, my name's Bob, and I'm Nathaniel. There's no way. And this doesn't make sense. So I'm going to take the next month or two off. Hopefully when I come back, I can structureless.
Yeah.
More,
You know, you're more than
particular
welcome
way.
to come on as and when you want.
Friend.
Even if there's another guest on, just jump on. It'll be fine.
Just hang out
For
anyway.
sure. Yeah. It's I would love to. I'd love to.
Yeah.
But it's like we're in someone else's world. We have people. We have beings carving amulets underneath people's eyelids. Amulets that are alien to us. We don't even know what they are. We don't even know how to read them. We don't know who carved them. And
Nope.
it just
I
nope.
don't want amulets underneath my eyeballs.
Yeah.
That sounds unpleasant.
Yeah, but that's the next tattoo craze, I reckon. What do you reckon?
No. I can't even do contacts. I can't stick my finger in my eye. I'm not letting somebody put an amulet in there. Not that I think whoever did it gave them much of a choice.
Well, no, probably not.
We got a couple questions. Do we have time to do those
questions?
Of
course we have. Yeah.
All right.
Go on. Do you want to do them?
Sure. This one is from Billy. Question, Nathaniel. The Fae of Ireland are now aliens, just a new mask now, even if the Fae still exist.
Yeah. See, with each and every new mythology comes new rules that we apply to it. That's it. And then when we cognitively interface with that mask, we throw all of the rules we believe it plays by. And then your father's going to straw you. Hello. Or you're the skull experiment. Oh my God, that's an alien? Where did he come from? Oops. It's, I don't know. But yes, I agree.
Sorry, my head just... When I see you, I'm going to make you drink. Let's sound with me.
Next one is from Nelly. By looking too deep into something, we can overlook the obvious, and some things aren't really that deep. That's more of a statement.
This is deep stuff. This is deep, and it's ontological. It's we're trying to get it off of our skin. It's inside of us, and that's perhaps.
Yeah, right. Next one is from Nickname. Yeah. What if humans are making exhaust energy? This is the result in the phenomena. See, that would make sense as well. Because it's still energy. There's energy in every little bit. Even a stone, grain of sand. Everything has energy in it. Whether it's alive, it's been alive, it's dead, it's never lived. Could be. And I ain't got a clue. No idea at all. Your thoughts, either of you? Could it be exhaust energy?
I'm not sure I have thoughts at this point.
Just go.
No,
I don't even know. Next one's interesting one, though. Grasshopper says, explain the current tornado of constant wars, a mass psychosis projection?
It's almost a spiritual one at this point. I mean, it depends on which war we're talking about. The Middle East, yeah, that's been happening since Jacob and Esau. Thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And it's not just about territory. It's literally existence. That's what's crazy. It's existence. It's weird. It's like, whoa. But, yeah.
Yeah. That, Nathaniel, is all the questions.
Usually, yeah. Cool.
Everybody's
I've got loads more, but we're at the time, so I've got to end it soon before I get my ass kicked.
Well, thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. It's always good.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
So, anything you want to add before we wrap this up?
Well, they're playing by different rules because they're playing a different game. The mask employed is designed for us to heap upon it rules that may not exist. If the phenomenon can literally create constructs that look like ghosts, if they can actually reflect on the historical record, this is me, and then literally fabricate entire mythologies, then we have to really look at behavioral patterns. Not masks, not aliases.
No.
Look at behavioral patterns. And that's it.
Cool. Thank you. Nicole? Nothing. Fred's just put my question. His question, not mine.
No, what question was that? We may have missed it.
I did not see anything come through. Oh, the only one I've got is Nathaniel is a great guest.
I gave him like $5 to say that, so we're good.
Oh, he's put, it could be this. Most people are good, but all the spirits seem to be bad. But he didn't put it in. Don't know. Sorry.
All bad spirits.
He'll be on again soon anyway, once he's had his recovery period and comes back at us with more mind-bending stuff that we can't comprehend.
Now everybody's going to have a drink.
Yeah. Everyone's going to go and lie down now for at least a week. Luckily, we've got a bank holiday weekend here, so 3-day weekend. Woohoo.
Sweet.
So, no, thank you so much for coming on.
No
Absolute pleasure, as always. Just before you go, coming up, so on Friday is what would have been the Global Skywatch. That is now not happening. We're talking about something different. I wasn't going to tell anyone, but I think I will do because it'll bring the questions in. We're going to be talking about something we've not covered before because it's kind of non-paranormal, but it's in the fringe type stuff. We're going to be talking about cults, cult leaders, how it can affect, or how religion can affect it. So, two things I said I was never going to do: religion and politics. Oh, and football.
They're both cults.
Yeah, so I might as well do all of them. So I'm doing that on Friday. We do have something else happening on Friday, but I'm not going to tell you because that's a secret. So if you don't join us, you ain't going to find out. Next Wednesday, we've got Daryl from Lost Souls Paranormal coming on. And then the following Friday, we have Adrian Perkins, Earl Grey. Oh, I can't see everyone. George Mitrovic. And I've gone for the full 4. Got Paul Blake Smith coming on as well. So, nice panel one. Great people.
Somebody just got you in the chat.
Right. You know, it would be a surprise.
And he has a birthday.
Every day. I actually spoke to him yesterday, so, and he's going to do his best to be on Friday. He says that every week, but no one's ever seen him. We don't even know if he's a real thing. Maybe he's a phenomenon. And that's why we don't see him. Could be. Then we've got Eric in 2 weeks from today, on the 15th. Then 17th, we've got Chris Collins. The 18th, I'm going to Rendlesham, meeting up with a select number of people. And then on the 22nd, thank you to Nicole, we've got Rich Moschella. Michelle.
Spirit artist.
Yes.
That'll be cool.
So, yeah, there's more than that, but that's it up to the end of the month. And, yeah, I'll tell you next week about what's coming up in... Oh, no. So then we got Bridget Barclay on the 29th. And then the encrypted table on the 31st. But that's going to be a lot different than the last one. God. Right. So, on that note, thank you again, Nathaniel. Absolute pleasure, mate. And anytime you want to chat, just drop me a thing. And
thank you.
Other than I'm asleep, I'll answer. So, right. We'll see you guys on Friday. Well done to those 15 that got the membership, because Gerald dished out 5 members as well. So really appreciate it. So have a wonderful 2 days, and we'll see you on Friday, same time. Take care and goodbye. Thanks again. See you soon. Bye-bye.